Welcome. Yeah, if you're on your back, roll over, gently, sweetly come to some sort of seated position. So sit up on, you can use the bolster. So George, 2 blocks or bolster is quite nice on the tush to not have the hardness. Oh, careful about the, yeah, really high. So let's do this, George. Take the 2 blocks this way and put a bolster across the top. Then I won't worry about you toppling off your Lego tower there. That could be a crash, bang, burn. And so if you turn the blocks this way, flat so they're stable, long across, yeah, and then set the bolster across. So if you turn it this way and set the bolster across that way. There you go. Okay, you can sit that way. I was thinking of turning it perpendicular to your mat so you have more stability. There, oh yeah, just turn the body, so much easier. Yes, excellent. All right. Turn the music off. All right, third starts the charm, right? Welcome. So in the seated position, take a good manual inner rotation. What that does is help you roll to the frontmost inner edge of the sits bones. You inner rotate the thighs, pull the buttocks flesh out behind you. That sit bone begins to roll and get more pronounced, and then you roll the other one back. Into that space, draw the tailbone down, move slightly forward towards the pubic bone. Pubic bone moves back towards the tailbone to firm the pelvic floor and lightly firm the low belly. Shoulders come right over the hips. So a lot of times if we're tight in our hips, we'll rear back, or sometimes if we're pretty flexible in the hips, we'll use energy to tilt forward. Find that little sweet spot right in the middle, right over the hips. Then you use less muscle energy to sit up. You fatigue much less quickly. Not that we'll be here that quickly, that long anyway. Today we'll work with the concept of patience. And my immediate response to that is, great, how long will that take? I don't know about you. I've noticed that people, when I go out, seem to be a little less patient, either with me specifically or with the general idea of traffic or life or something. And I've also noticed that sometimes my patience can wear thin in ways or times when that was not the case before the crazies. I call it the crazies. Before all of the craziness, our world just got upended. So, and I find I will swing between ultimate patience. I'll even think to myself, how did you hold it together there? And then I'll just be hair trigger quick, just totally irritable the whole time. So this whole class was planned by my teacher training class, and we have here, Sherry is with us here, and Jill is on a conference call. She does risk management for Coca-Cola, and she's talking with people in Corpus Christi about the hurricane and what that might have done to some of their things there. So she will be joining us in a minute. And then Mary is at home. She's also in the teacher training. So the cool thing about today is not only did they work with me to plan this class, but they're going to step in and teach a pose each. So I know they're nervous about it, but I'm telling you, they are amazing teachers already. So it's really great. So we were talking about patience, and Jill said, yeah, how do I not kill someone when I go to the grocery store? And I thought, well, that's a good point. I think we're all struggling with that a bit. Pema Chodron, one of my favorite people, she's a Buddhist teacher, and P-E-M-A Chodron, C-H-O-D-R-O-N. And this, she talked about patience and impatience. And, you know, when patience is not suppressing your anger or your frustration, we think that it's endurance, just suck it up and take it, you'll be patient. Well, it's going to squeeze out somewhere else. So patience is, you know, and when we're impatient, it makes things harder for yourself and for others. I know that when I've fired off a comment in anger or frustration, nothing gets better. It's only when I've paused, and she counsels us, and it's an excellent but challenging practice, is to just wait. When you feel that upswell of anger or irritation or frustration, and that can come in our yoga practice as well. Like, I never do this well, or I hate this pose, or we're holding it too long, or I get that as well. When it comes up, you note it and you wait. You choose not to act, to jerk out of the pose too quickly. You may come out of it faster than I suggest, but you do it with a consciousness, not with a kind of knee-jerk reaction. And we've seen the result of knee-jerk reactions in the world and in our country lately, and it's not good. Nothing good comes of that. So you take a beat, you take a breath. Whenever I've waited, when I've learned, it's taken a long, long time, but I've learned that when I'm upset, I'll just say, I need to let this cool a little bit, and I'll deal with it later if it doesn't need to be dealt with right now. And then I usually say, I'm upset, I need to deal with this later. That's how I deal with something that someone's asking for some resolution. It's like, you don't want to hear my answer right now because it won't help anybody. Let's give me a beat. I just need to integrate this. It's not an easy practice, but it's been powerful for me. And the other thing is that you wait but you honor, you do nothing except be completely and totally honest about the fact that you're completely and totally furious. So you do not deny these feelings. You just say, I choose not to act on them right now. That's the practice. Simple, but not so much easy. Because that takes courage to just be in the messiness of the energy and just sit. And also, when we get angry, frustrated, irritated, we seek resolution. That's what the burst of anger is. I need to fix this. Stop it. Shut up. And worse, that we've been hearing from lots of people out in the world and the country. It doesn't solve anything. So what it means is I'm angry, but I know that I need to just let this settle a bit to figure out, what am I really angry or irritated about? And sometimes I'm just irritated because I'm tired of this. It's not anybody's done anything to me. Maybe I interpret how someone cuts in front of me or something as a personal affront, but I'm just tired of this. And the fatigue of dealing with this just crawls all over me. And that's when I realized, all right, I need to reach out to somebody. I need to connect. Sherry and I've talked about this a lot, that robbing us of our social connection, of our ability to hug, to touch, to connect, and we're wired for that. So it's okay to feel frustrated by that. You honor it. And resist seeking resolution. So the thing is, Pema Chodron says, patience requires courage, because in this process of becoming curious about our anger, what's that about? Why are you getting so upset about that? That's the curiosity. Then the courage is to say, just be here without resolution. Our need for resolution is a need for certainty. And the need for certainty is the result of a misunderstanding of how it all works. Because the fact is, there is no resolution. And that if you sit with it and you sit right in the middle of that anger, you will most likely note that there's something you're holding on to. You're not letting go, that could be released for your own wellness, your own sense of peacefulness. So as you connect to your breath and then to your heart, it's that radical honesty and truthfulness. You go into the heart and you say, here's how I'm feeling about this. And yet I'm going to wait. I may say something later, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to give it a beat or two, a day or two, a year or two before I blow everything to smithereens. And when we practice patience with a balance of curiosity and courage, we practice heart-centered self-compassion. That's what it really boils down to, where we honor our true nature, that ability to bask in the middle of the energy, and that is peacefulness. Draw your palms together in front of your heart center. Inhale, exhale, cleansing breath. Inhale to Om. Om. Next, exhale, release the hands, flutter the eyes open, and come to our tried and true, the table pose. Face out to the center of the room. For those of you in the studio, we have a few here. Pad your knees as you wish. Spread the fingers of the hands, connect with the whole circumference of the palm, claw the floor a little bit, isometrically hug the thumbs towards each other as you're at the same time isometrically pulling the baby fingers away from each other. And begin to round and arch. And notice, we do this all the time in my classes. Just notice, where do you feel it differently today? And maybe sometimes I'll say, oh, there's that same old crick in the same old place, and I want to be a little more violent with my table, move it faster, try to work it out. And I can tell you nothing good comes from that, for me anyway. So you have the patience to just say, this is my body this morning. This is how it's feeling. You can make it bigger as you wish, stretching back into a crouch position, clawing the floor, pulling the elbows back, bending them, and as long as you're not feeling any pinch in the low back, coming forward. Make it as big as you wish. The next time you're through center, pause and make some hip circles. Let the head be soft, let it move. A lot of times we do the hip circles and the head is like stuck in concrete, and that will only intensify any kind of tension you have in your neck and shoulders. So let the head move with the circle. Reverse the circle if you haven't already. Oh. And the next time you come through center, pause. Again, claw the floor, tuck your toes, walk your knees about a handprint distance behind your hips, the hands about a handprint distance in front of the shoulders. Again, activate the hands, hug into the middle, and unfurl into downward facing dog. Walk your dog, pedaling the feet, bending one knee, and then the other, stretching out through the calf. And pause in dog, bend your knees, lift your sits bones, and on your inhale, shift forward into plank pose. Exhale, lower the knees, slide back into crouch and unfurl into dog. So it's like a mini sun salutation. Just moving forward into plank, lowering the knees, exhale back and up into dog, inhale forward into plank. Do this at your own pace with your breath. We're working some of the major joints, warming them up. The shoulders in particular, as well as the hips. And the next time you come into dog, don't hurry, just find your way there. Walk your hands back to your toes, forward bend at the back of your mat. Fold forward. Oh. Bend the knees and straighten, little micro bends, like half bends, and then straighten-ish. You don't have to straighten the whole way. You can also do half forward bend, where the knees are bent, the forearms are on your knees, on your thighs, and you bend and straighten from here to loosen up the hamstrings. On your next inhale, lift the torso halfway, upside down letter L, hands on the hips, legs are strong, push down into the earth with the four corners of the feet. Inner thighs move back, tailbone lengthen, shrug the shoulders, lift the head of the arm bones, wait for the wave of your next inhale, push down and hinge from the hips as you rise up. Keeps the back happier. And release, step to the top of your mat. You may want blocks near the front. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, prepare, step your right leg back, straight leg lunge. Pause for a breath. Plant your hands on the floor, step back, plank pose. Exhale, lower the knees, chest and chin, all the way to the floor. And little baby cobra, the hands are on either side of the chest, shrug the shoulders, lift the head of the arm bones, and curl up slightly, tuck your toes, and morph into downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward, straight leg lunge. Hover and lunge for a second. Get ready and push off. Shift your weight to your front foot. Lift your left leg. Oh, and bring it in for a landing. Forward bend. Hands on the hips. Shrug the shoulders. Lift the head of the arm bones. Inhale. Hinge from the hips to rise up. And release. One more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, prepare. This time, step your left leg back, straight leg lunge. Pause. Lighten on the fingertips. Step back, plank pose. Hover. Next, exhale. Lower your knees, chest, and chin all the way to the floor. Take a breath. Next, inhale. Plant the hands, shrug the shoulders, and lift the upper body into an easy cobra. Nothing too intense, just enough to feel it in the upper back, not the low back. Tuck your toes. Next, exhale. Downward facing dog. Next, inhale, step your left foot forward, straight leg lunge, pause. And wait for your next exhale. Shift your weight, fold forward, lift the leg, and bring it in for a landing. Hands on your hips, pause. Wait for the inhale to hinge from the hips to come up and roll up. So we don't want to roll up. I know that you may have been taught to roll up in other classes. So Kristen, particularly for your back, don't roll up. It's more about making the legs do their job so the back's not working. It's hinging here, so it's not, the head doesn't go down. So it's good for everybody. It's help my back. Yeah, that's it. So you're using the legs, perfect. All right, the first pose is Tadasana. So I'm gonna be the model. Jill, you can just step up here so you can see that you're in the thing. So Jill's gonna instruct you guys and me. Tadasana, mountain pose. Oh, mine.
Messing up my hair.
It's not in the ears, it's on the bone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Feet hip width apart. Raise your toes. And press down from the four corners of your feet, starting with the ball mound closest to your big toe. Energetically raise the arch, the inside arch. Fan out to the baby toe, the ball mound there, press that down, and energetically pretend to raise the outer arch and press down your heel. Engage your legs 360 degrees with a micro bend to your knees and energetically push your shins forward. Place your toes back down on the ground. Engage your core by xiphoid to tailbone. Your xiphoid is around your the base of your sternum. Shoulders back, thighs back, tailbone in, standing tall. And release.
Hold your hair out. All right, from Tadasana, excellent, Jill, thank you. From that beautiful Tadasana that she just led, keeping all of that, raise the arms on your next inhale. Stretch up, hold a big beach ball. So if your shoulders are tight, arms come slightly forward. Don't try to bring them up by your ears. So George, lower your arms a tiny bit, bring them down, and pull the shoulder, everybody pull your shoulder blades down your back, widening in away from the neck. Then draw the bottom ribs down. If we hold this long enough, hold a big beach ball, so you're just pressing it slightly together. A sweet energy, not a killer energy. And notice, if we stand here long enough, first of all, you're saying, okay, I'm bored. Wait, don't say anything about it. Just let it sit, let it mellow. The next thing you're saying, wow, I'm getting warm. My arms are getting tired. This is harder. This is just a simple pose. Have the patience to hold it with integrity, with a sense of joy. Next, exhale, turn the palms and so gratefully lower the arms and make circles. Right. Step to the top of your mat. Have your blocks near you. Again, set the feet, lift all 10 toes. Press through the 4 corners of the feet. The ball mound of the big toe, nearest the big toe, presses down. Energetically lift your inner arch. Press the inner heel down, tack it down. From the inner heel, fan to the ball of the foot nearest the baby toe, stretching the baby toe out to the side. You notice how the muscles in the legs start to engage. Energetically lift your outer arch and tack the outer heel down. Those are the 4 tires on each foot that it runs on. Keep that, hug the heels towards each other energetically, micro bend the knees, pressing the shins forward, inner thighs back, and then pull it all together. The tailbone lengthens as the toes slide along the floor. The legs are so strong, the muscles above the knees are pulling up. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, soften the knees, bend as much as you need to touch the floor. Reach the right leg back, straight leg lunge. Move some blocks right under your shoulders on either side of your foot, as high or low as you need them, and take the weight off the blocks. Just come to your fingertips. The legs are doing the job. Check your front leg. The knee is right over the ankle, not forward of the ankle and not too far back, but somewhere in that Goldilocks place. We are playing the Goldilocks place today. Scissor the legs. The back heel stays up. So this is not a classic. That helps you inner rotate the back thigh. And now scissor the legs together as though you had roller skates on and you did not want to do the splits. So the back toes isometrically pull forward as the front foot isometrically pulls back. Lighter on the fingertips, 1 fingernail holds you up. Lengthen the arms and stretch the heart forward as much as you're pulling the top of the left thigh back. Oh, as the left shin is pressing forward. That gives you a lot. Have the patience to work the pose deeply. Nice. And then step back, downward facing dog. Upside down letter V. And notice, oh, that hip got a little bit of a work there. It's a nice release. Dog will start to become a resting pose until we come later and work dog a little more deeply. Your next inhale, step your right foot forward. You can always come to this by lowering the knees, hauling the right foot up, lifting the back knee. The heel is high, so we're not turning the back foot out. Roll it in. Then light on the fingertips, either on blocks. How do you know if you need blocks? If the head is lower than the shoulders, get a little more upliftment in your life. We need more upliftment, all of us. Kristen, walk the blocks back on either side of your foot, then you're not reaching. You see how that's a little more stable? Perfect. Scissor the legs. So imagine you're in roller skates. Scissor them in. Come to 1 fingernail on each hand. You see how the legs have to do their job then more? This is like, oh, yeah, I can just hold here, but my hands start to hurt. So scissor in, pull it in. Inner thighs move back, tailbone lengthens like crazy. Particularly send the tailbone down to the back inner heel, your left inner heel. And then the right sit bone, the bone you sit on, pulls forward towards your inner right heel. It's a lot of instruction. And Kristen, you can take a wider stance because your front knee wants to bend, yeah, and walk the blocks back a tiny bit more. There you go. Now, and you can lift them up higher. Everybody can. You can lift them up high. It gives you more space. And scissor. So this is a slow burn. Light on the fingertips. Notice the tendency, the deep pull to throw all the weight on your hands. We're all there. And release back to downward facing dog. Oh. And notice that hip gives a little release there and it's warmer than it was. And then shift forward, lower your knees. And come into unstable table, which means the hands are about a handprint distance in front of the shoulders. The knees are about a handprint distance behind the hips. So this is perpendicular table. Everything's lined up. So I want to be a little wider because dog is better served when we're in a wider stance. Nice. So Carrie, you can move your knees a tiny bit back farther, and George, move your knees back a fair bit. A little bit more. Be brave. Go, go. There you go. Everybody looks good. All right. Spread the fingers, hug the thumbs towards each other, as you press into the whole circumference of the hand, notice if you're putting more weight on the outside heel of the hand, that's common. Shift a little more weight to the base of the index finger, base of the thumb, and notice how the arm muscles have to work a little harder. Keep everything where it is and shift the hips back. They won't go to the heels, but you'll do this extended crouch or puppy pose. Look through your eyebrows and look up towards the thumbs, not enough to pinch the neck, but just to kind of see them in your peripheral vision. Again, plant the hands, hug the thumbs towards each other. The inner arms, the forearms are rolling down towards the floor. Then counter that with the upper arms rolling up. So your inner armpit, the place closest to your neck, that's your armpit, rolls up and widens apart. Pull the shoulder blades onto the back and hug. Keep all of that and unfurl about halfway so the knees are bent. We're doing a slow burn dog. Take a breath. The arms are still strong. The feet parallel. Isometrically hug the heels together without moving them together. Heels should be hidden behind your ankles. You can look back a bit. So hug the heels isometrically together, as that helps you widen the inner knees. The inner thighs move back wide apart, as though you could spread your sits bones way wide apart without rocking the knees together. Tailbone lengthens towards the down towards the back of your legs, towards the heels. As the xiphoid process, bottom tip of your sternum, moves towards your tailbone. And then slowly start to go to straighter. Don't go straight fast. Have you lost the arms? Are they screaming? Are they whining? Just notice. Keep stretching the legs without shifting the shoulders forward. Keep the shoulders back so they're well behind the hands. Nice. Inhale. Come down. Rest in child's pose. Knees apart, toes together. That's a dog. So if you haven't figured it out already, we're doing slow burns. Mary, I'm going to switch you over, and I'm going to turn this off so people can hear you. Will you do slow burn plank? Everyone will love you, and I'll pass out your address. I'll pass out your address later.
You meanie.
All right. Go
All right.
You guys hear her?
Oh, hi there. Testing. Hey, fellow yogis.
Yep, you can do it for me, and then I'll just leave me either on either side of me.
All right. You can hear me? Everybody can hear me? Okay. Let's start with a forearm plank. So you've got your forearms on the mat there, Mariana. That's good. Rest of you guys, if you'd like to pad your knees or your elbow, we'll be on them. So Mariana and yogis, lie down, lower down to your belly. There you go. And with your breath, expand your side ribs in this position. You can relax your head on your hands for a moment because this is extended, right? Spare yourself. Pick up one leg and stretch it back. And then the other leg. Pull them together isometrically. Hug them in. To engage the core, rotate your inner thighs and draw your tailbone toward your knees. Good. Now, your knees are going to stay on the mat. You can rise up onto your forearms, one arm at a time if you like, palms down, or you can clasp your hands together in desperation, right? So have your elbows directly under your shoulders and isometrically draw your arms back towards your knees and press down. The more you press down with your forearms, folks, the lighter you're going to be in your body. Hug your shoulder blades onto your back to caress your heart. And if you can, let's see, lift up where you're kneeling on your knees. Here we go. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yes, good. And keep your neck in line with the spine, looking to the floor slightly ahead of you. Okay. So here from the core of the pelvis, expand back to your knees and heels. And from the pelvic core, expand forward through the torso, head, and arms. Really melt that upper back. I'm watching yours, Mariana. There we go. The more you press down, the lighter you'll be, right? Okay, now if it's your choice, yogi's choice, to lift your knees at this point and really expand from the pelvic core out to the heels. Expand again from the core out to the head. Very good. And then come down for a rest, or otherwise you will come and find me before we go to plank. Yeah. Now, if Marina's there, she needs to, go back up on plank and do, opposite arms and legs up in the air and stuff like that. But the rest of you guys, I like you too. So, all right. So if your wrists are up for it, we're going to progress to plank on your hands. Otherwise, COVID-19 free pass, you can remain on your forearms. You can put a nice blanket under your forearms, which I like. But if you're going up on your hands, move any forearm padding away. So still on your knees, place your hands under your shoulders, fingers spread, middle finger pointing forward. And Mariana, you might want to move your knees back a little bit. There you go. That's it. What we want is a straight line from the knees to the head. So that's why you're moving your, inner thighs rotate in and tailbone down. I'm looking for a straight line. Very good. Okay. So back to the hands. Under your shoulders, fingers spread, middle finger pointing forward. Press them into the floor. Rotate the lower arms in and the upper arms out. You'll notice your elbows do a little wiggle there. So middle way. Your breath is even and steady, right? I don't hear anybody breathing.
Right.
Slide your shoulder blades down along the spine, firm them into the back. Press the space between the shoulder blades up. The space between the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, but the shoulder blades are going towards your heart. Now you can stay on your knees here, or you can extend one leg back with your toes tucked and then the other leg, so you're in a high push-up. That's a beautiful push-up, Mariana. Your body's in a straight line from head to heels. Either rotate those thighs, lengthen that tailbone again. Keep pushing the floor away evenly with the full circumference of the palms, especially that base of the index finger. Imagine you're pressing your heels against the back wall. Are you breathing? Look at the floor, slightly forward, jaw relaxed. Okay, we've come down. All right, we'll take 5 breaths there. And you already knew to go into child's pose. Everybody go in child's pose. Thank you.
All right. So come back out. Oops, sorry. Put this on for the folks here. Come back out to your belly.
Connect all the way to your belly. And so we'll do a cobra, but first plant your hands on either side of your chest, shrug the shoulders, lift the head of the arm bones up, and hug the elbows towards the midline. Lift one leg, lift from the inner edge of the thigh, stretch it back and place it down so all 5 toenails, particularly the baby toenail, touches the floor. Lift the other one from the inner edge of the thigh, the outer hip rolls down, stretch it back, spread the toes, and click all 10 toenails down. You'll notice that if you spread the toes, particularly the baby toe, and press the top of the feet into the earth, then you start to release some of the low back pinch as we move into it. Inner thighs lift up. It's like you're trying to pull your hip crease away from the floor. Tailbone lengthens and the belly button moves up towards the spine to engage the core. Shrug the shoulders again, lift the head of the arm bone, and come up to a cobra, a little easy cobra. And then lift your hands. I have to come down a fair bit. Lift the hands, make the back muscles work. This is back core work. Inhale, lift a little bit. Exhale, you lower a tiny bit. Inhale, lift. It's just the movement of the breath. Can barely see it. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower a tiny bit with each breath. And notice
For me, my baby toenails start curling off the floor. So click them back down, lengthen the tailbone. The legs are strong in a back bend. And release. Stack your hands, place your forehead on your hands, and windshield wiper the legs back and forth. Tuck your toes, plant your hands, and shift back into a child's pose or a puppy pose. And unfurl into a dog pose. It should be a nice stretch for the low back. Reach the heels back towards the floor. Next, inhale, soften your knees and walk your hands back to your toes. Knees can be bent as much as they need to, forward bend or half forward bend. And then everybody come up to half forward bend with the hands on the hips. Knees soft, shrug the tops of the shoulders towards the ears, lift the head of the arm bones towards the sky. The back is roughly parallel. Now use the legs are strong, hugging to the midline, push down and hinge from the hips, not using anything in the low back, it's all legs. Very protective, and release. All right, tree pose, Sherry.
For your tree pose or a pose if you're pulling, you don't have a block.
Can you be seen?
You need to hold the blanket, hold the towel. Place it on your head.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Just go over the ears, not in the ears. Is that close enough?
Yeah, it just hits the bone. It's not.
Yeah, it's gonna go. Strangle.
Okay, make sure you have a block. If you don't have a block, a towel, a blanket, you can fold it just to give you a little instability. We're going to challenge our patients with balance. When you have patience, you can transform frustrating challenges into fun. So let's have some fun with this. Step onto your block with your right foot. And we've talked about the four corners of the foot. You want to have all four corners of the foot on your block. Your left foot is just down by the side still, and just breathe here while you stand. Now press up through, pull up through the four corners of the foot. And when you do this, your standing hip, your right hip tends to want to go out to the side. So hug the muscles in so that hip stays firmly in line. Take your, I'm backwards here. Take your left knee, rotate it out, place your foot on the ankle, side of the ankle, up on the side of the calf, or up on the side of the thigh, and not directly on the knee. It should not go directly on the knee. You don't want to put pressure there. And bring your hands together in front of you and just breathe right here. Feel the balance, feel the challenge. Press your foot into the leg and your leg into the foot. You want an equal pressure there. You don't want to be pressing too hard with your leg or pressing too hard with your foot. Find the equal pressure there. Take your thighs in or rotate them back. Lengthen the tailbone down. And from the core of your pelvis, lengthen down and root down through the standing leg. And from the core of the pelvis, you can take your arms up and out and extend out through your branches of your tree. Nice, guys. Lovely, lovely. And if you want to challenge yourself a little more, get those limbs blowing in the breeze.
Hurricane took me over.
Yeah, we have a Cat 4 hurricane, a tropical storm. Very nice. Okay, dismount. Let's go to the other side. Flip your block over, because if you look down, you're going to see your footprint in the block. So flip it over so you have a fresh side. Once again, stand with your left foot on the block, all four corners of the foot on there. Right foot still touching the ground beside you, and just breathe right here. Find the settledness and feel the instability. Being on that block gives, do you have all four corners tacked down? Pull up from those four corners, pull the muscles of the legs in, and make sure your left hip is not out to the side. Make sure you're pulling it in nice and tall. Take your left foot, take the knee out, place the foot on the ankle, inner calf or inner thigh. You may have to use your hand if you want to place it on the inner thigh. Bring your hands together in front of you and just breathe right here for a minute. Press that foot into the leg into the foot, finding that place in the middle, not too hard with either. You'll feel your balance when you get pressing equally, you feel good balance there. Thighs back, tailbone long and extended, and you can reach those branches up, and from the core of your pelvis, root down through the foot. And from the core of the pelvis, root up through the hands, lengthen up through the hands and arms. You may blow in the breeze here. Looks really nice, guys. Very nice. Good job. Nice balance. Oh.
Great. One more standing pose. Excellent. No block. Otherwise, we'd probably call 911 and be in trouble, right? All right. Eagle pose. It's both a wrap of the legs and a wrap of the arms. There's a lot of adaptations along the way. Let's start with just the arms so you get them straight. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Put your left arm under your right. Bend the elbows and see if you can reach back and take some part of your hands. Some people can get the total palms together. I can grab part of the thumb. You just, yeah, it's like, what? You're turning, yeah, you got it, you got it. Yeah. So both both hands are pointing straight up to the ceiling. So George, it's not about pulling the hand back. Yeah. Now, and you can take a strap and hold a strap. This is a good one. When the shoulders are tight, left side, right. Hello. You can hold a strap here. This works really well. Because if the shoulders are tight, and also if you're really muscular, so George is muscular, and that's going to be harder. Your left is under your right, and then see if you can get the strap down in the other arm, just swing it there, and now pull against each other. Lift your elbows slightly. You feel the pull, a nice stretch along the shoulder blades in the back. Pull the head of the arm bones back, and the shoulder blades try to hug more on the back. Lift your elbows slightly, and move the hands a little bit away from the face. Just notice the difference when you keep making little micro adjustments. And release. Whew. Other arm underneath. So your right underneath if you're left. So whatever the opposite arm was. It's like, I don't know, I don't remember. And then try to either take hold of the belt or some part of the hands. And again, this helps pull the shoulder blades off the back and gives a nice stretch. Now see if you can pull the shoulder blades back towards each other. And lift move the arms, the hands a little bit away from the face. So this is kind of your volume control. Don't want to move it too far out, you can pull, but see what happens when you make a micro adjustment there. And can you still breathe? There's a test. And release. Right, holding your breath, you won't have much patience for that. At some point, you're gonna have to give up. The legs then, and then we'll put it all together. You bend like we're bending in a chair pose. I'm gonna take a seat back here. And the left leg comes up and over the right. Now what will happen, people take a really nice bend. As soon as they pick it up, they straighten. So keep it bent and pull it over. The left toes can touch the floor. That's fine, that's bus stop one. Hug the knees together, inner thighs moving back, tailbone lengthens. Jill's showing the full wrap. She's pulling the foot all the way behind the leg. Not required, you still get plenty of work in this. Hug the knees together, inner thighs back, tailbone down, and release, shake off. Yeah, it's like, what? This is the tie yourself in the knot pose. The like crazy yoga things that we do. All right, side B, bend. Gonna shift your weight a little more in your heels. You're still stepping on the gas a bit with the ball of the foot, but you're shifting the weight back to the heels and not trying to move the knees forward, but move the knees, the knees stay as far back as they can, the bum goes back. Now keeping the bend, take the right over the left. Try not to straighten the standing leg. You've got to bend the standing leg. So here's another thing you can do. If you have a wall, you can lean up against the wall. This makes it a tiny bit easier. Now squeeze in and release, shake off. Now let's put it all together. What? What if you're stuck? Let me dial 911, hang on. Just hold it, hold it, hold it, stay. You'll probably fall out at some point. All right, now we're gonna add the arms and the legs. On the first side, we'll do legs first, then arms. On the second side, we'll do arms first, then legs. And you'll just see, do I have a preference? And you may say, I don't like either of them, but that's all right too. All right, again, bend the knees, shift the weight back, not the knees forward, but keep the knees back over the heels, stick the bum out like you're trying to reach for the chair. The old, the old geezer, and I are one, so I can say it. The old geezer reaching back for the chair. Lift your left leg up and over, squeeze. The left toes can stay on the floor for balance. You can also put a block on the other side. Bend the knees deeply. If you bend the knees deeply enough, you'll touch the floor pretty easily. Bending, hands on your hips, shrug the shoulders, lift the head of the arm bones, pull open the chest like a cobra bat, stretch the arms out. Now the top leg, that's your bottom arm. So if your left leg is on top, your left arm is underneath. So you come into this as best you can, and you don't have the, if you don't have the belt, that's fine, just come in as best you can. Breathe. And if you want to go a little deeper, go deep, bow in, oh, and then fly out of the nest. Whee, shake it off. All right, this side we'll start with arms and legs, and you'll see, do you have a preference? There's not a right or wrong, there's just a difference. So we had our left arm underneath, now we'll take the right arm underneath, cross it over. Pull the head of the arm bones back, pull the shoulder blades down the back, hug them on. Bend the knees deeply. Shift your bum back so the knees start to slide back over, so not forward. Kristen, I'm worried about your knees here. Move them back, yeah. You can tilt the body forward, the upper body forward, yeah. Now the bottom arm is the top leg. I don't know where my body, this is a real test of the brain. The right knee's over the top, and if you get it switched, who cares? It's not an exam. Squeeze the knees together. The right toe can be on the floor or block, and then see if you want to go even deeper into the nest. Bow forward, eagle pose. On your next inhale, fly it out. Wow. So standing poses, guess what? They build heat as well as strength. So we're, oh, I don't even have the fans on, do I? If you want to hit the top switch there, Carrie, yep. That will make us all feel a little happier. All right, come down onto the floor. Have maybe a blanket to sit on. Some of you may not need one. We'll do a mermaid twist. I'm going to do it from the side. A little easier to see from there. With the knees up, roll to your right hip, kind of sit on the right hip, and then the knees kind of go, they can go close, they can go far away, or they can go even farther away. I would say farther away is a little easier, so somewhere in between. You're firmly on your right hip. The left hip is off the floor. Don't try to sit it back down. You're back trying to lift the hip. As the low belly's moving back to the left, begin to walk the hands back around to the back. Stretching, it's a stretchy, twisty thingy. Can even lift the right hip a little bit more and slide it under you to roll more towards the outside seam of the, if you have an outside seam. And breathe. So as you spread through the four corners of the feet, George is saying, early Shavasana, is your back okay? Getting a kink? Uh-oh. Don't try too hard in this. Inner thighs move back and wide apart, like you're trying to moon whatever's behind you. Sits bones widen, tailbone lengthens, that gives you stability in the sacrum. And then you can maybe spin a little bit more. It's not in the head. The head stays in line with the sternum. Don't try to twist your twist off cap off. Yeah, take it easy until you feel a good stretch. If you're feeling any pressure at all, you use the volume control. You just come out of it a little bit. On your next inhale, untwist and go back to the other side. You drop the knees to the side. I just like to lean over to the left side, lift your left bum a little bit and get a little more onto the side. I have to get my buttocks flesh gets in the way, so I have to kind of lift it and move it back a bit. Again, your knees can slide away from each other. That's again, there's lots of little adjustments here that you can play with. And keeping all of that, begin to walk about halfway, not your full max, but just start to walk around until you feel a little bit of a twist. And then maybe lift the left hip again. This time, push the inner thighs wide apart, the upper inner thighs. It's like, it's an energetic motion. You can feel it. People can't really see much. Push your inner thighs, stick the sits bones way back, and tailbone lengthens to firm the low belly. That way your core is stabilizing the pelvis. Then you maybe can walk around a little bit more. Again, be easy with the neck. Don't try to twist off the cap. Just a nice stretch. I feel a big stretch on the left side, and then the twist. The low belly is moving back to the right. It's like a twisting wringing a washcloth. Even though the hip's coming with you, you're pulling back a tiny bit. You can lift your right hip more, Sherry. Lift your right hip more. Just lift it, yeah. Yeah, walk around the back a little bit more. Oh yeah, you're flexible, you can do that. Yeah, do you feel that? Inhale, rise up. Nice. All right, strap and a blanket, seated forward bends. The seated forward bends, in my tradition, we only do them near the end of class after we've warmed everything else up. So sit up at least in, and George, you might want to sit on the bolster for this, just because men tend to be tighter, they're stronger, I give you that. Men have superior muscle strength, but you get to pay for that because now you're tighter. So that's just the way it goes. Women tend to be more flexible. You may say, I'm not flexible at all, but you're more flexible than you probably are stronger unless you've really worked out. All right, the feet right straight in front of you, you're sitting up. Now, if you're still slumping and you can't lift up and get the stegosaurus back out, the vertebrae come in, here's what you do. So George, you lean back into your lawn chair. It's like you ratchet the lawn chair back, then the head comes right over the shoulders. It's not forward, it's pulling back, head's back. There you go, like you were resting in a lawn chair. So that works well there, and you're in the lawn chair. Take the strap, you might have to slump a little bit to get the strap over. Wrap the strap and pull the elbows so they're back by your side. What this does, otherwise if you're here, you're rolling the shoulders forward, and I'm using all my rotator cuff, which I don't want to. That's not designed for that. So pull it back so your elbows are hugging your ribs. You can slide your hands down the rope a bit, the strap. Yeah, so you pull the elbows back. You notice how that pulls the chest forward. Now you can still lean back in your lawn chair from the side. You can still lean back in the lawn chair, lift the heart, pull the elbows back like you're pulling like you're rowing. Yeah, nice. Now, if you're feeling plenty of stretch here, stay here. This is bus stop. You'll know when to quit. But everybody, spread your toes, press through the four corners of the feet, push the heels into the earth, step on the gas a tiny bit so you're not quite going to pointed, but you're starting to. Pull the heels isometrically back to your hips so the knees bend. The knees can bend a fair bit. Pull them back, and that will help, George, with you to bend your knees a fair bit. Then you can lift your heart forward. You can pull your heart, lengthen. Yeah. So as the inner thighs move towards the floor, the tailbone lengthens, and you lengthen all the way up through the spine. You may say, I'm feeling plenty here. If you want more, you tilt from the hips. So it's not about collapsing. You're lifting up and over. So if you're here and you're feeling fine, just pause here, don't collapse. Keep lifting and lengthening the side body. Keeping the side body lengthened, you start to reach the heart towards the toes. Not the head, George. Back it up, pull it back. There you go, right here, and move the head back. That's beautiful. Now try to move your belly button forward. Ah, do you feel it? Stop when you feel it, and just pause there. When you feel some hamstring stretch, not the head, move the head back, everybody. The head stays in the back plane of the body. Nice. Some of you might be able to reach for the toes and keep pulling through, but get to a place where you can sustain it. So I might be able to go here, but if I'm not warm enough, I can't stay here. So it's not about rounding the back. The back is long. The back rounds eventually. So Jill, where you are right there, you can now, but because you lengthened everything. Here's what happens if you round too quickly. So if I go here and I say, all right, everybody else is going forward and I'm getting left behind, I'm going to go forward. What happens is you're rolling to the back of your sits bones and you're going here, and all you're stretching is the low back. We want to stretch the hamstrings here. So if I stay back here, and so I'm trying to lift my belly button up and over the thighs, then I start to feel the hamstrings not the low back. Because Jill's hamstrings are quite open, she was almost her belly was already down on the thigh anyway, then she can fold forward. And you pause and think about, lengthen the spine more, don't round the back, lengthen the spine. So George, I don't want to pick on you, but keep lifting, lengthening, slide back a bit. Yeah, pull the head of the arm bones back, pull the elbows back towards the ribs, pull the chest through. The chest up and over. Yeah, if I could come over there, I would love to do some physical assist because it's really great to take your back. I'm not going to do it, but lift you up. It gives you that sense of upliftment. So forward bends require patience, but they also result in sort of a calmer nervous system. Unless you're feeling, if you're feeling this in the low back, you've lost the point. So you've got to slide back into your lawn chair a little bit more. Use the legs. The legs are what's working. The heart lifts. Slide your hand out away from your feet so the elbows bend and hug to the sides. And slide your hand down, George, down the belt. Give up on the belt. There you go. Now pull the elbows back. Hug them into your side. Lift your chest. Use the reins. Okay, now lift up and over. Bend your knees, not the chin, and pull the belly button forward. The head stays back. The chest is trying to move towards the ceiling. Tilt the hips forward. Yep, that's the head. The hips, I know, it's like, what, ladies? Quit. Yeah. So it's everybody has that tendency. We all want to go head first. And it's heart first, hips first, and release. Oh, I know, right? You hold this long enough. I know, the hands. That's why I do the double wrap and pull back. Then I don't have to grip. It's the double wrap kind of holds it there. And I actually, because my fingers get really tired, they cramp. It's age for me. But it's just like if I wrap it there, then I can almost just squeeze my thumb a little bit and hold it. You don't have to work so hard. All right, the counter curse to this is come into a wide diamond. The sole's just what you're doing, George, already, but slide the feet pretty far away. It's not Baddha Konasana, they're pretty far away from you. And now it's slumpy time. So with the soles of the feet together, just start to stretch forward until you can't stretch anymore, then release the head and shoulders. And you'll feel this more in the back. You might feel it along the outer hamstring set. But it's the antidote to the other one that's working more tighter and more upright. And then this is a rounder feel. It's called starfish pose. Don't know why, but there you have it. Inhale your way up to center. Roll all the way on your back. Have a block near you. So roll all the way on the back and enjoy the back. Oh, does that feel good or what? Now we know we're near. Get the light out of your eyes. We're near Shavasana with the knees bent, feet on the floor. Lift your hips, slide the block at its lowest level, just under your sacrum, not up by your waist, but closer down by your tailbone. You'll find it's right at the back of the pelvis bone, just rest right on it. And then bend your arms in robot arms, press down into the elbows, lift the shoulders a tiny bit, snuggle the shoulder blades underneath you, and then tack the head of the arm bones back down. Arms can rest at your side. The chest, the sternum, the heart center is moving towards your chin. The chin is lifting away from the sternum. Sometimes people tuck the chin here and you see it changes the voice. You want to lift up, not arch back, but lift the chin. That keeps the natural curve in the back of the neck. And what we don't want is any of the cervical spine, those are your neck bones, to press onto the floor. And if you snuggle the shoulder blades close towards each other, you make a little tunnel in between the shoulder blades. We could slide a pencil from the base of your skull all the way down through the back and it would not get stuck. That means you're in optimum alignment. And you rest. So it's a gentle inversion. The hips are slightly higher than the heart. Heart is slightly higher than the head. It's great to, when the world gets crazy, is to do something different. Turn things, if the world is turning upside down, then turn upside down with it. This is nice at home. Some of you may have a chair close by or a couch. You can just hook your legs over the chair. It makes for a nice version of legs up the wall. Legs on chair. And some of you may want to stay here for the rest of the final relaxation. Otherwise, press into your feet, lift your hips, slide the block out from under you, come to your back. If there's a few movements you want to do before you move into final relaxation, maybe hugging the knees in, stretching in any way, but come to Shavasana with the arms and legs lengthened, arms at your side. How close they are to your side or how far away depends on how much heat you want to keep in. Farther away, you'll cool down faster. Close together, keep the warmth in, whatever feels comfortable to you. And then the legs, they lengthen and then you release them. No effort to engage them or hold them, just release them. Here's where you may want to slide a bolster under your knees. Feels quite lovely. Releases the low back as well. And envision the bones getting heavy. Skin and muscles, tissues are soft. Organs soft. Heart center soft. The shoulder blades lie on the back like two smooth, round, flat stones in sand. Swallow to soften the throat. Part your back teeth slightly. Part your lips slightly to soften the jaw. Ears and temples soften. Eyeballs settle back into the cradle of the eye socket as all the muscles around the eyes release and soften. The space between the eyebrows, third eye center, your center of intuition, of knowing. You just know. It's where you're connected to your heart from your head, all the way into the center of the skull, softens. You might feel a tingling when you do that. Then soften your forehead, your scalp. Bring your awareness to your breath. Following the breath, it's a curiosity. It's like a cat watching the breath moving in and out, just watching. That's the curiosity. What is the nature of the breath? Your thoughts will come and go. You're choosing not to follow them, not to get swept up in the winds of your thoughts. Let them float away, slide away, blow away. Begin to deepen your breath. The breath deepens and wakes the body from the inside out. Begin to add gentle movement, wiggling the fingers and your toes, adding your hands, feet, wrist, ankles. Begin to stretch the arms and legs in any way that feels delicious. There's a reward for being patient. It just feels so peaceful, so delicious, so easy. Roll to your side, drawing your knees in and rest there. You can make a pillow with your hands or pull a block under your head. Rest on your side for a few moments, honoring the transition from the relaxation up into the rest of your day. And on your next inhale, roll a little more towards the floor, slip your arms underneath you, push yourself up to a seated position. And sit well any way that's comfortable. Lengthening through the spine, heavy and stable with the legs. And scan the body, mind, spirit to notice what might have shifted since the beginning of class. Draw your palms together in front of the heart center. So remember that patience is both curiosity and courage. The curiosity to pause, to wait, to notice, to observe, to start to investigate the nature of your impatience. And the courage to just sit there and not seek resolution. Just be there in the middle of the whole gorgeous catastrophe. That's a simple practice, but it's not easy. Inhale, exhale, cleansing breath. Namaste. Thank you, guys.